Hello, I'm Imre Demhardt. I'm the Virginia and Jenkins Garrett Endowed Chair in the History of Cartography here at UTA. As you can see, I am not in a classroom, but in the natural habitat of a map guy like me, in a map collection. UTA proudly is the home of one of the best collections of cartographic items between the east and the west coast of the United States, including globes, atlases, single-sheet maps, books, journals, and much more. So, with your interest in this welcome video to the introduction class of the only graduate program in the nation to study the history of cartography, all is lined up for exciting discoveries and, on occasion, surprising perspectives on how to understand history. You want some examples of what to expect to learn in this course? Sure, come along. The first example is a Roman map and a modern road atlas. As strange as it might seem, these two items, a full 15 centuries apart from each other, were made for the very same purpose, and they even look similar. This facsimile of a 22 feet long and 1 foot high Roman road map of approximately the 5th century AD shows all of the Mediterranean in a surprisingly similar generalized pattern as the 2008 Rand McNally Road Atlas depicting the United States and here Texas. Lines for roads, symbols for roadhouses, cities and mountains. The fashion might change over time, but some needs, like getting directions, do not change through time and civilizations. And this is my chance to introduce Ben Huisman, the cartographic archivist here at UTA's Special Collection. He is a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to tracking down cartographic items for your map assignments in my class. Thank you, Ben. Now fast forward a full 1000 years. This 1507 world map by Martin Waldseemüller is arguably the most famous map in the United States. What are some of its claims to fame? For one, it is the first to show the New World detached from Asia, and thereby, as a side effect, creating for the very first time the Pacific Ocean, a then only hypothetical body of water no European had seen or traveled by that day. This only happened in 1513. When moving closer, one can see America written across the region of modern-day Brazil. Not a big deal, you think? Well, this is the first time that any map showed that name, and it stuck with the continent. And with a price tag of $10 million, the Waldseemüller map, or the birth certificate of a whole continent, was the most expensive map when bought by the Library of Congress in 2001. This map by the Italian Vincenzo Coronelli depicts North America for the Sun King, Louis XIV of France. It is an as aesthetically pleasing as scientific up-to-date depiction from the year 1688 of what are now the United States and their neighbors. It is also a great item to find out what a map can tell you. See the grid of various scale, which tell you that the map was intended for sale in various countries. When an enlightened era mapmaker was uncertain of what to make about too little or conflicting information, then he put no fantasy on the map but a text block, like in the area of New Mexico. However, even the most prudent approach does not fortify a good mapmaker against all gaffes. California is shown as an island, to fend off rivaling intrusions by its European competitors. For a while the Spaniards did little to correct this obvious mistake. One of the many people in the shadow of Lewis and Clark's seminal cross-continental expedition is U.S. Army Major Stephen H. Long. This map of 1823 and the accompanying report is based on years and 26,000 miles of travels across the Louisiana Purchase of 1803, the land between the Mississippi and the Rockies. It is the first map to show Pike's Peak, but since in his days there were no interstates, travel across the plains was only possible on or along major rivers. While doing this, he noticed that in the dry season, all the rivers in the plains were not navigable and lacked timbers anyway, which was needed for agriculture and building homes. Thus, he put this seemingly inhospitable area on the map as the Great American Desert. Since nobody wants to settle in or even feels tempted to cross a desert, this imagination of the West effectively slowed down the westward move of homesteaders for almost a generation. Long before the discovery of oil in 1901, the Republic of Texas was free but bankrupt. The only asset was land, plenty of land. But land had no value without farmers and tradesmen and roads and railways which connected it to the world. Thus, in 1844, in a win-win deal, a huge land grant in the heart of the hill country was handed over to the Adelsverein, a German association which promised to bring in thousands of settlers. On this Adelsverein map of Texas from 1851, one can see the route the pioneers took in the years since 1845 from Indianola on Matagorda Bay to the new settlements New Braunfels and Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg and the Grant were well beyond the frontier line to Indian Territory, which, as the then existing counties show, roughly followed the modern I-35 from Dallas down to San Antonio. And we take away also, as with the Coronelli map scholars, even when studying home state history, to benefit from some knowledge of French, Spanish or German. This is the very first map, and many say the most beautiful of all 19th century maps of the United States, depicting the greatest attraction in modern American West, the Grand Canyon. Notice the Spanish Trail on the northern rim from Santa Fe to Los Angeles, leading through a desolate Mormon way station, Las Vegas. Having accompanied an army expedition up the Rio Colorado in 1853-54 and along the southern rim, German topographer Friedrich Wilhelm von Eglofstein experimented for years to give the map reader an as close to natural feel of the chasms of the gorge as he himself had experienced. The striking three-dimensional impression is achieved by a complicated technique of photographing a plaster model and overlaying it with relief shading, grouped lines thinner and wider apart for lighter effect, thicker and densely grouped for darker effect. And to emphasize the depths of the canyon, thick cross-hashes were applied as well. When this cartographic wonder was published in 1861, the nation, however, did not notice because of the beginning Civil War. So this revolutionary map-making technique was abandoned and relief-shaded maps only were rediscovered a generation later during the Gilded Age. You are very welcome to join the ride across the globe with a lot of hands-on activities to equip you with the expertise to decipher the code of maps and what they can tell about regions, developments, events, and even individuals, like no other form of historic documents.
Hi, I'm Madeline Lowry, the new cartographic archivist at UTA's Special Collections, which means I'm here to help you with all of your map research needs. If you have any questions, you can come visit us on the 6th floor of Central Library or shoot me an email.